Secret Level. Am I the only one who really likes this show? I remember when I saw the first trailer about 4 months ago. I watched it. I didn't hear anything about it. I was completely surprised by that trailer, and I was sold. I didn't keep up with it. I didn't watch reviews or anything leading up to it, and I really enjoyed it. And then today, I start to realize that it's getting a little bit of a negative feedback. And I don't know just how accurate that is. I don't know if it's an accurate depiction of how most people are feeling since the show just came out. I don't know if it's just certain groups, certain critics, or whatever, but I really enjoyed it. I am a gamer, but I'm not a lifelong gamer. I'm not someone who plays constantly. Even though I've played my fair share of games at this point, I still don't consider myself a true gamer. Like, more than half of these titles I've never heard of before. So that pretty much says it all. I've only heard of obviously Pac-Man, Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that's literally it as of right now. I know there's gonna be a part 2 to the season next week, so I'm excited for that for sure. But yeah, so far there's 8 episodes that were released, and like I said, I really enjoyed them. All the episodes are at least like 5 to 10 minutes, but the longest one is, I believe, the Warhammer episode, and that was 20 minutes. So they're all very short. They are proper short films, proper cinematics. And I personally really like it. It's funny, a reason why I like it was someone else's reason for disliking it, which is that they all feel like a elongated trailer. Like, they don't feel like a real short film, or like something like Black Mirror, where they're like 30 minutes to an hour, where there's like a proper story with a proper arc. That these just felt like elongated trailers. Personally, I like that, as I feel like if they were to make them really long, you would isolate the audience a little bit, because how many people are gonna watch this that aren't into gaming? Probably no one. And I think the purpose was to like extend the world of gaming to a wider audience, hence why it's an anthology show. And I feel like that's a great strategy. It worked. It made me curious in a lot of these titles, if not all of these titles. I'm like I said, I hadn't heard of most of them. But yeah, I really enjoyed them. I didn't love them all. The one starring or voiced by Arnold Schwarzenegger, that actually is probably my least favorite episode, which is interesting because that one kind of has a real arc. That one has it's like a concise little story, and that one actually is my least favorite. I don't know. I just didn't connect with it, and it felt a little repetitive. The lesson, the overall theme was very predictable. It felt almost like a kid's tale told in an adult way. So I didn't connect to it, but I mean, visually, artistically, great. And that's something I can say about the whole show, that is very artistic and very inspired. And it's interesting because I saw an article where someone said the show's very uninspired. And I'm like, what? That is literally the opposite way of how I would describe the show. Because every episode was extremely artistic, and they're not carbon copies. They're not exactly the same. All of them have different styles, different animation styles. For the most part, they lean towards realism, but some of them do have very stylistic looks, and those are great as well. And they all have diverse themes, diverse worlds, different lores going on. And like I said, I really enjoyed it. I would highly recommend this to most people because it's very accessible. Very short episodes. You just get an impression of these games. And I mean, I feel like that's what they want to do, extend the audience, like I said, give you an impression of these worlds and just have a good time. And that's exactly what happened for me. I'm very intrigued to know more about the Warhammer world. I've been hearing about it for years. So many people have talked about it, so many friends I have. And obviously Henry Cavill has been pushing to create this world with Amazon. I was very satisfied with my first introduction to the Warhammer world. As I said earlier, the episode's about 20 minutes long, and it was very interesting. It's very dark, very gothic, very brutal, but at the same time there's like a sci-fi element to it, which I didn't know it was gonna be so gothic and medieval, but because I knew there was like a tech element to it, like a sci-fi element. So it shows that this world is deep with lore, and it's interesting. But for sure, my favorite episode was episode 4. It's titled Unreal Tournament Zan. And that was very interesting. I feel like that could be a film, or that could be maybe a little mini series, but it just was involving robots, a tournament, and like self-awareness and AI, and just rebellion, and just interesting stuff that I found that episode very entertaining. And that's definitely my favorite one so far. So We'll see in part 2, or whatever they're going to call it, season 2, probably part 2, when those episodes come out. I'll be interested to see the other 7 or 8 that come out. But yeah, I just wanted to give my quick thoughts because as I said, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was very surprised to see the negative response. Perhaps coming from a perspective of someone who knows all the games, so therefore they dislike it. But again, I saw some articles from pretty big news outlets, and I would assume they're not the most versed gamers, but who knows? So yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts on Secret Level, if you've even heard of it. But yeah, I would recommend it. Anyone who loves storytelling, like, and you're open, check it out. You know, they're very accessible. If you want to only skip around, there is an anthology series, so it's not like you need to watch them in order. So yeah, I would highly recommend it, and let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.